Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the PowerHouse Fence Show. My name's Zach Shue.
My name's Dan Turbyville.
Welcome. This is a fence-focused podcast, generally concerning commercial fence, a good bit of the business side, a little bit of the technical side. So if you're interested, involved in, adjacent to commercial fence, sit down, strap in, get your plan sets out, hard hat on. Let's go to work.
Let's get it done.
Cool. We're on episode something or other of season something or other.
Yeah, we don't. Ilaria, feel free to chime in.
Episode 28.
Episode 28 of season 2.
Cool.
Thank you, Ilaria.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
And this title is very appropriately named Strong-Armed by a General Contractor or General Contractors.
Mm-hmm.
So, welcome, everybody.
It's weird, man. We haven't been here in a while.
It feels weird for me, but they've been seeing us.
Yeah.
So that's
it's been
not that weird.
Well, it's been like a month since we were live or something, right?
No, like 2 weeks.
Okay.
No, you're right. 3 weeks.
It's been a while, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
So, anyways, yeah, it's been a while. It's kind of weird to be here. So, it's good to be back.
Cool. Welcome to the show. This episode, as many other and pretty much all the episodes, are presented to you by Memphis Fence Company, MFC Manufacturing, Simpalo, and Thornton Fence Consulting Group.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got links for things rolling in places, I suppose. I don't do any of that. I just say the word. So hopefully the the digital placement person who's ever in charge of that has done all that stuff. So it's easy to find all those things. What's fenceconsultinggroup.com, simpalo.com. Right?
Yep, that's it. And
MemphisFence.com.
MemphisFence.com.
I mean,
MFC. Oh, the best one. MFCMFG.com.
Easy peasy.
Isn't that cool? So
MFGZ.
Yeah.
MFCZ.
Yeah. Exactly. I was super distracted. I'm sorry.
So we're here. We're live. We told you that.
Yep.
Phone number. Did
you read the phone number?
We've got a live number for you scrolling across the bottom of your screen. And for those who are unable to view the screen currently, that phone number is 901-878-4987.
You got it. Feel free to call any time.
I'm exercising my narrator voice.
Practicing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an opportunity to narrate for a book on tape. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that leads us right up into the books and listening at the same time. Just one little segue sentence. We talked about reading and listening and book simultaneously. Imagine how that works.
Nice.
What you been listening to, Dano?
Oh, man. Trying to keep up with everything. I've been listening to Unhinged.
Yes.
Still working on...
Shout out to the Unhinged people. Thank you guys for putting together such a quality podcast.
Yep. Good job.
Or whatever you call that.
Mystery series.
Series.
I don't know. It's something different. So I've been listening to Scaling Up, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits by Vern Harnish. Still digging the Founders podcast. I listened to Jordan Peterson interview Elon Musk the other day. That was pretty interesting. It was the best way I could describe that was I felt like a mouse in a room watching two elephants fight just because of like the vocabulary that they used and stuff.
Cool.
Or like two dudes just opened the dictionary and started reading it. There was plenty of words in there that I had no idea what they meant.
I've listened to a lot of Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
That's probably not surprising to anyone. He's got some introspective metaphysical talks and stuff, and I'm kind of into that. So that's how I wind up there. But I've not listened to a lot of Elon Musk talk, but that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I've started reading Tony Thornton's The 7 Strategies for the Professional Fence Contractor. It's got a colon after that, but that's a mouthful in itself. So Tony, I think we bought that from Tony. I was about to say he gave it to us. We bought a couple of books. We like to support people who support us, so that's what we did. I see it here on Kindle, on Amazon for $10. It's all over the place. It's on the fenceconsultinggroup.com. So you can get that anywhere. Again, the title of that book is The 7 Strategies for the Professional Fence Contractor.
$10. on Kindle. That's
Kindle.
a deal, man.
That's Kindle. It's not the physical copy.
Right.
So-
But still $10. I mean, it's pretty cheap.
fenceconsultinggroup.com for that book. This is not necessarily an advertisement. I'm just talking about what's going on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I started reading it a while ago, and honestly, I never finished.
Yeah.
That happens with me. Like, I get into something, work on it a while, and then I get distracted by something else. So.
I think a lot of people in maybe management or business, at least entrepreneurs, we're kind of like that. We're kind of ideal people, and I shouldn't be outing myself to you on camera. You're supposed to be the do the thing
You're
guy.
supposed to be the one that gets it done.
Right, not the yeah, right. No, I'm the doer. I'm a doer kind of a guy.
Yeah.
I used to be the creative entrepreneur type, but no longer. That's no longer. See, this top button is buttoned up nice and tight. Well, thank you guys. All jokes aside, really thank everybody who listens, who comments, calls us, talks to us. I talk to people on the telephone and on Facebook that are, adjacent to the podcast, congratulating all the people involved. Thanks for everyone who make this possible. And of course, we couldn't do it without the person behind the scenes, Eraria. Thank you very much.
Of course.
And yeah, so if you got any comments, questions, concerns, you want to poke fun at us, anything like that, feel free to give us a call, comment, however you can reach us. Also, during the show, we accept and very often will engage in comments in the comment section. So
that is correct. We
do
try
this
our
for
best.
you guys. Yeah.
Especially when we're live. People sometimes comment when we're not, and I try to
Follow up,
hit a thumbs up or reply or something, even when we're not live. So
I probably won't be doing that. So just so you know.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier, we were planning some events. We're planning attendance at an event. And what we were talking about one in particular.
Yeah. The West Coast Fence Show.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
West Coast Fence Show. And we're in a booth number
516 and 518.
Yes. I don't know what I'd do without you.
I know. Glad I can.
You'd be like, Zach, are you? I'm on the plane, man. Yeah. Oh, right. Okay, that's today.
I'll be back. I promise.
What did I say earlier? I said, what month is this one called?
Right. Yep.
So that's booth 516, 518, maybe some other ones.
Maybe we'll see.
Because we don't know exactly where we. Oh, you confirmed that is in fact our booth number.
That is our booth number.
Okay, cool.
But we might have some additional booths. Maybe.
We'll
see how that shakes out.
September 5th through the 7th. That is in Reno, Nevada. There's still some booths available. There's a golf tournament on Thursday. The event spans Friday, Saturday, and some Sunday.
I think Friday and Saturday.
So, I mean, anytime you get a chance to go with a bunch of crazy fence people.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Pretend to be a normal person and then go, spread out around the town in a city like Reno, Nevada. It's a pretty cool opportunity.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be fun. It'll be cool. We'll be there. We'll also be at the Thornton Fence Business Conference in December. So we'll check that out too. And
guess what?
What's up?
I used Simpalo today.
Did you?
Yeah, I've been using it a lot. I've been really using it, enjoying the function of taking a hand drawing and producing a materials list. It's so easy. And, I trust our suppliers and our vendors, but ultimately
I don't. Even when you send them a material list, they still get it wrong sometimes. We're all human.
I'm trying to
be nice.
Yeah, basically.
I'm just here to tell it like it is, man,
Yeah. The Italian word of the day is rude.
So skip right down to that.
So I trust them. Speaking of vendors, Brad Rude. So that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, nice.
No, I trust them, and they're pretty handy. And a lot of guys are very helpful. One of my vendors today was like, "Just send me over the linear footage. I'll give you your post and panel count." And I was like, "Okay, cool." But I got this cool thing called Simpalo, so I'm gonna do you a solid, and not work you to death just to give me an estimate.
I'm gonna just send you some quantities. How about
that?
Yeah.
Easy peasy, right? And make their job easier.
Yep.
Because, I mean, there's nothing, I don't think there's anything more that will get you an expedient response than making their job easier.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So
that's true.
I try to, take it easy and not beat our vendors up by, oh man, I saw this picture of this fence. Can you figure it out for me? And I do that sometimes.
It happens sometimes, but yeah, I agree. We try not to.
So at Simpalo, I basically export the CSV and then I will convert that to like a Word document in a small table.
Okay.
Copy and paste the table into a Word document and shoot it on over.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of information in the CSV that they don't necessarily need.
Right. So you kind of edit it a little bit after. Yeah.
Barely. It's like nothing. I mean, it takes me, 6 minutes to get that once I've done the work in Simpalo.
Right. So I got an email today that and you never know if this stuff is true or not, right? Like speaking of not trusting things, I also don't trust these type of things. So I get an email today that says, oh, hey, Simpalo has won the Fence Estimation Software Company of the Year award for 2024.
Nice.
And I was like, but did we really, or do we get to win if we pay you $5,000?
Right.
And so
at CSV-6472-
right.
world.net.
Well, no, this was a legit thing, right? The people that sent it were legit, but it wasn't. It still is like you get that crap where it's like, oh, you've won this award. All you have to do is pay $2,500 and you can have it. And I'm just like, no, I don't think I will.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
Congratulations, though.
Maybe. But it was pretty cool. So that's my Simpalo story of the week is that we maybe won an award.
We won a half award for now.
Right. I think we're just going to claim it. Even if we don't actually get it, we're just going to claim it. So
Fence Software of the Year award holders for 2024.
Yeah.
We've been currently uncontested. So I'm going to say award that to Simpalo.
Yeah, we definitely won it. No doubt. So anyways, speaking of Simpalo, you know what we use Simpalo on is computers.
Yeah. Wow.
So I thought we would talk about computers for our tool time of this week.
Dude.
You don't like that topic?
Heck no.
All right, well, what do you got?
Why don't you tell me these things first?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I use a computer.
Yeah.
A Hewlett-Packard Tower is what I have.
So basically all I wanted to say is we do have a couple Macs that we use. And yeah, we won the opportunity to buy an award. Exactly.
Thank you, Jeff.
So we run a couple Macs and they're good. I like it. It's a little bit different. You got to kind of do a few things different in like the business world. And mainly we just use whatever brand of PC we can find easily and like get our hands on pretty quick that will do the job. So just kind of like check out the stuff that you're running, look at the system requirements on it, and then bada bing, bada boom.
I guess the only thing that I do that's even remotely taxing on the computer would be submittals in AutoCAD.
AutoCAD maybe.
But it doesn't really.
Right.
The other stuff I use for renderings or 3D modeling is web-based, so it's not a big deal.
Right.
As long as the internet connection is good, which that has been our biggest thing as far as in the computer realm is more about connectivity than it is about the equipment.
Yep. And I don't want to like jinx anything, but we did swap to dedicated fiber and so far so good on that. It actually dedicated fiber is like 99.6% guaranteed uptime. And I think we had it a week and it went down. So that was awesome.
That was that 0.04 or
yeah,
0.4 or whatever.
Right.
We experienced that already. So we should be good to go.
Right. We
now
should be
good
for like 5 years or something now. Right.
That's right.
But so we're kind of like exploring some backups. We looked at a couple of options for mobile backup, looked at Starlink as maybe a possibility. So trying to figure that out. But anyways, yeah, the computer, I don't know. I don't put too much thought into it. Like I just get whatever will work and go with it.
And they're pretty basic. I mean,
yeah,
you don't need a lot to do what we're doing. And especially with the software we're running being cloud-based.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no big deal.
Yep.
So
Yep.
now is one of my very favorite times of the show.
Cue some sound effects.
Co-hosted by Ilaria. It's time for the Italian word of the week with Ilaria Pisoni.
So the Italian word for this week is rude. And first of all, I'd like you to say it in English and then Italian.
Rude.
Whoa, you perfected that.
That's not how you normally say it.
No. When we first met you, you used to say rude so much.
All the time. That was like your favorite
It's like,
word.
how rude.
Yes.
Maleducato.
Nope. My little Cato is what it sounded like you said something.
Mario Ducapo.
What?
No. Maleducato.
Miley Ducato.
Yes.
Okay.
Miley Ducato.
Good job,
Good job.
Dan.
You did the lazy
So
face.
I did. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Like
It was
I
pretty
went from
funny.
having a little smile and I went,
It was his lay.
yeah. All right. Cool. So I left your favorite poem in here, Zach.
So you can
Just
read
for
it.
you.
So you can read it for the class.
You don't want to try again? I thought
Never.
you're pirate voice, man.
Never.
That's what we talked about last time. I'm gonna leave it in here until you do the pirate voice.
I'll work up to it.
Okay. All right. So that's about it for that part. So now let's actually like dive in. You ready?
Let's get to the topic of the show. The meat, so they say.
Now it's time to put the hard hat on. It's about to get heavy. Ah. Okay. So we've got like two different stories that have happened within the past week or so of, kind of this whole like strong arm by general contractor situation. And so we thought we'd share it and just say, this is how we handled the situation. I don't know, right or wrong, whatever. This is what we did. So what do you think? You ready?
Yeah, I got to hear this.
Oh,
I am anxiously awaiting.
okay. All right. So
The music of suspense that definitely articulates how I felt.
got you on the edge of your seat and everything.
Yeah, that was me making that noise.
So we have contractor number one. We're going to call them A, B, C. All right. And so they sent out bid documents, right? Like every time. And this was actually a pretty proper plan set with, project manual and all this kind of stuff associated with that. And we go through, we bid the job. It was just some temporary fence. So we went through, bid the job, did everything, and then we kind of entered into like some negotiations. And of course, they want to know time frames and all of these things. So we went through all that. They sent a contract, and we started looking through the contract. Always send it off to our insurance agent, have them review the insurance portion of it for us because there's a lot of words in there I don't understand too. And so they come back and they're like, "Oh, hey, you need to add this endorsement." All right. No big deal. That's fairly like we see
That's
that.
not uncommon, especially this was at a hospital, which in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the past, my experience with the endorsements were around hospitals, believe it or not. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but obviously size of job, but seems like maybe there's some extra requirements around a hospital.
Yep. So I did mention that we had a project manual when we bid the job.
Right.
So the project manual did not include these insurance requirements that we later found out we had to have. So the endorsement was a $350 a year endorsement, right? So $350 is not a big deal. Well, this particular job was it was like, I think less than $11,000 or around 11,000.
Right.
And it's, you have to pay that $350 premium every year.
Right. For the duration of the project. Right.
Not even for the duration of the project, for the duration of your insurance coverage.
Oh, wow.
Right. So it's typical that your insurance coverage will extend like 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever years after the project is completed. Another contract I got this week said 6 years after. Mm-hmm. So it's common that your insurance coverage will extend past the completion date of the project. And remember, we are putting in temporary fence. We were going to be one of the very first people on the job site. So we would have to have the endorsement now. Our insurance renews in October, so we would have paid the premium again in October and then every year moving forward. So I don't know how long the project was, and I don't remember how long we had to maintain coverage after, But like if we say it's a 2-year long project, we have to maintain the coverage 3 years after. So that's 5 years, right? So that's $1,750. $1,750 that goes right into your cost of goods sold. So you would typically apply a margin to that, right? And so we went back to him and we were like, hey, we're not gonna do this. I mean, $1,750 on an $11,000 job. Like now we're losing money to do this job because of this insurance endorsement.
Right.
And it was not included in the bid documents or any of this stuff. So like I pay us for it. Right.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like it was pretty fair. And I mean, we didn't try to like get crazy and put markups and margins and all. It was just like, hey,
And
can
this
you
was
reimburse
the
us this
contract
cost?
had been signed just to
Nope.
no contract was signed yet.
Nope. That's you go through all of this before you sign the contract.
For some reason I thought, never mind. Thought it was the other way around.
No, sir. No, we had not signed the contract. So we went through this whole process before signing the contract. And so they took a day or two. And I get a call the other day, like 5:30, whatever. And he says, hey, I just left the boss's office and we're not going to do anything. He's like, and so he says, y'all signed a contract on a job before for us that had that insurance requirement in there. I was like, oh, okay. That was a different job on a different site for a different owner. Like, how does that mean that applies to this job?
Right.
And
you had a different COI for that job.
Right. So, yeah. So when we talked about this before, Zach's idea was like, oh, if the same thing applies, just send them the same certificate from last time and you're good.
Right.
So, but I was like, no. And so they just said, no, we're not going to do anything. You signed a contract before. Let us know how you want to proceed. And so we kind of talked around here a little bit about that. And I was like, I don't think that's the right way for them to do business.
Right.
I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right. And so, no, we're not going to do it.
Right.
So,
and I was involved in this process. I agree. I think ethics is kind of a big deal, and that seemed unethical to me. A surprise thing. Had it been something we missed in the contract or in the scope or whatever, had it been something that was our fault, we missed, but it just clearly wasn't illustrated in the bid document.
So I even went along those lines. I went back into the project manual and I copied the entire insurance section. I sent it back to the same insurance agent and I said, does any of this say that? Because when I read it, it doesn't. So I just want to make sure.
Right.
And she confirmed. She said, no, it's not in there. And so I feel like we did our due diligence. And we talked about like the possible repercussions of this, right? These people may not send us bid invitations anymore because we wouldn't do the job that they tried to force us to do this on. And I think that was just a risk that we decided we were willing to take. For those of you, the majority of you probably don't know me very well, but I will say I'm a very principle driven person. And like, I'm the guy that I will cut off my nose to prove a point to my face, not really to spite my face, but, and I think that there's certain principles that we as human beings should live by. And especially in the business world, like I think there's ways that you should conduct yourself. And when people don't do it, I don't like that very much. So yeah, that's the story of contractor number 1. And so again, insurance requirement was not in the bid documents. Insurance requirement then was added into the contract. And we went back and said, hey, you should pay us. And they said no. So this particular contractor, just to kind of like make this a little bit deeper and go a little further into that, this particular contractor has hired us on a lot of jobs, right? So like 40 jobs in the past 11 and a half years when I went through and looked at it. I didn't realize it was that many at the time, but I knew that, we had done a decent bit of work. It is less now. It seems the past couple of years has been less jobs than we did for them before. But there for a while, we were doing a good bit of work for them. So, but even knowing that, like, I don't regret the choice to tell them no on this thing. And I also didn't I don't really appreciate the whole like ultimatum thing of like sign this and do the job, or we'll find someone else who will. It's I don't like being put in the corner and given ultimatums like that. So, but anyways, so I'd say kind of in summary, just understand what you're willing to take from someone and what you're not willing to take from someone.
Sure.
And
which I think ultimately, well, I wouldn't say ultimately. You made a very valid point about the ethical nature of it and not being bullied or pushed around, so to speak. But I think also like the main thing is it's affecting the margin, which is an area that we have decided we're not willing to budge on, right?
Right.
And it's kind of counterintuitive if you're new to this, if this was your first contract and you're like, crap, we want to get our foot in the door. Because that's where our estimator project manager was like, it's one of my first ones. I really want to do it anyways, boss.
Yeah.
Right. And we're like, I wouldn't, but we're going to let you decide what you think. Right.
So, yeah. And that's kind of where we left it with him, was like, all right, in fact, I think when I told him about it, I gave him like nearly a full 24-hour period.
Right.
To kind of like let it sink in and just kind of see what he wanted to do about it. Right. And then we all reconvened and talked about it some more.
Right. So in the end, I guess you said the final, we did not do it. Right. And that, I mean, this is a contractor that we've done a good bit of work for in the past, like you say. And like, so to my point again, it's counterintuitive when you want to increase revenue.
Yeah, but we want to increase the right revenue,
right?
Not just any revenue.
I think our good buddy Tony would support us on this one.
I think
we're not going to compromise our margin, right?
Mm-hmm.
I may be putting words in his mouth, so forgive me, Tony, if I misspeak. But I think to stick to our guns in that.
I agree, and I think it's the right call, and I think we made the right choice. So
right.
So now let's.
That was the bad news. Let's tell them about the good news.
Yeah, you want to talk about contractor number 2?
I wish I would have introduced this by, you want the bad news first or the good news? Which one you want? Here we go. So I like this. I'm a big fan of kind of consequence and then contrast and then conflict resolution, right? So we're going to do a little bit of that for you guys today.
Yeah. So we're going to roll on into contractor number 2 here.
Let's call them, what was the first one called?
A, B, C.
Okay, so we'll call these guys D, E.
Yeah.
That cool?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so we'll talk about DE construction over here and the situation that happened with them. All right. So we talked about the last contractor who had hired us 40 times in the past 11 and a half years.
Right.
So these guys were hiring us for the first time. And so we've done we did a project like a year or so ago. It was a joint venture, them and another construction company. And so we kind of knew them a little bit, had worked with them some on that. But like this is the first time that they just outright hired us. And so went through the same process. We got some bid documents, which really wasn't much of a bid document at all. It was just kind of like a Google or screenshot with some notes, and it was kind of marked up what they wanted to do because this was added to the project after the fact. Actually, I think it was just because they needed to do this fence work to facilitate the rest of the construction they were doing on the project. And so it wasn't really in the plans or anything. I think it was just kind of like an ancillary thing that came along. But anyways, so they sent it to us. No project manual, no nothing came with this one, right? Now, to be fair, it is a job site that we've worked on a decent bit and pretty well know their process, know the people there, know how everything kind of operates and all that. And so with this one, we sent the bid in and we got a contract and started going through this contract, and it wants a bond.
Right.
And so I go back to the guy and I'm like, hey man, you didn't tell me that there was supposed to be a bond on this job.
Right.
And
had I known, I would have included it in the bid price.
Right. We didn't put any money in here for a bond on this job. And his response was, no problem. It has an exclamation point at the end. So did you hear that?
And do you mind if I put a little margin on top?
Right.
And then what'd he say?
But he didn't say anything about that. But I did ask him. I was like, all right, here's how much the bond is. Would I be allowed to put a little markup on there? And yeah, he didn't say anything to that. But I mean, I'm cool with just getting reimbursed for the cost of the bond, right?
Sure.
Yeah, we're gonna eat a little bit of like margin or whatever you want to say, but I mean, I'll take that. I'll take that ownership of not thinking about how this facility works and not thinking that they would want a bond. So I think what we're going to do is, I don't know why we haven't done this already, but on the proposal form, it has all these notes underneath it. It has exclusions, it has, disclaimers, all this kind of stuff. Why does that thing not have a bond rate?
Mm-hmm.
A line that says, unless specifically noted above, no bond is included. If you do want a bond, the cost is X%.
There you go.
I mean, we just put that on there. Yeah. I gotta go. I need to go do that right now. I'll be back.
That's right.
So, yeah. So that's what you do. You learn from, hey, this situation happened. So now we have 2 notes to put on there, and we put a note that like, hey, this includes our standard insurance package. Right. Any additional insurance is subject to additional cost.
Sure.
Right. This does not include a bond. If you want a bond, some additional cost.
You want a bond. You want a bond.
Yeah. So now kind of what happened after they said, no problem. I was like, all right, well, do you want to reissue the contract? Do you want to issue a change order? Like, how do you want to handle that, legal side of this bond? And he's like, let me find out. I'll get back with you. So now things get a little bit shady.
Right, because when you go to invoice for the
right, it's going to be like, well, can you prove that you were told you would be paid for it?
Okay, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
So
or Daryl Edwards of DE Construction.
Oh, nice, good job.
I've been making up acronyms basically the whole time.
That's
so if it looked like I
doing?
was zoning out, that's what I was like. DE. Okay.
Right. So, yeah, I still haven't got a straight answer of how they're gonna how that side of it's gonna go, but we're working through it. And
Cool.
so he did send an email, and it gets even worse right now, honestly. So, in the email, he says, "Oh, I'm 99% sure you just send us the invoice and we'll reimburse you."
Man,
so he doesn't know still.
That stuff for me is the most stressful thing.
Mm.
Really. I mean, currently, I don't know that it always has been or always will be, but currently the change order organizing, and when it comes to invoicing for change orders, and all that stuff, man, I'm just like, is this all actually going to shake out okay in the end? Like, are we actually going to be able to invoice for what we agreed on? Even though I know I did my due diligence here. It's just like, oh no. You know what I mean? Ugh.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
Reminds me of this job that we did. And we did, I believe, 2 jobs for the same contractor at the same time.
Yeah.
And well, first, let me
We
just
did
say,
some jobs.
on
That
the
sounds
job
familiar.
for DE, we're kind of rolling the dice a little bit, but I mean, the way I look at it is if we don't get the money for the bond on this project, we're going to work at this facility again, and they're going to pay for it at some point. Right. So, all right. So anyways, we did this job, and these 2 jobs for who are we going to call these guys?
FG.
FG. Okay. All right. So we did these
for Floyd Garman,
these 2 jobs
and Associates
for old Floyd, and we sent them bills, and they're just straight up like, oh, we'll pay half of it and we'll work out how to pay the rest. And I was like, wait, what? No, you can't do that. That's not how this works, right?
What I find interesting is it seems like a need to do this, and they didn't request it. They just said that's how they were going to, you know?
Which part of it? The part I've already told, or the one I'm going to tell?
I'm saying their intent to pay a portion at a time is like out of a financial need place of financial need, and as opposed to asking, like saying, appealing to your humanity and saying, "Man, we're kind of in a weird place. Would you mind?"
Yeah. So the thing to do would have been to pick up the phone and call
and not just
and
be
say,
like,
"Here's what's going on."
But poor Susie at the desk or whatever is the person who's been charged with this responsibility.
Poor Susie, who's just doing what she's told, and she's like, "You mean I got to call these people and tell them they can't eat tonight?"
Or whatever, right? I mean,
so I think there's a lot of situations, right? And there's ways you can handle the situation properly, and there's ways that you can handle the situation improperly. So
I have a weird story.
I think you could kind of just think about the situation and maybe think.
So here's the problem.
What if I were on the other side? Right?
And the other problem being, I didn't extend to them a contract that disclosed our terms.
Well, I wasn't gonna like bust you out on that.
Why not?
I was gonna talk about the fact that it happened, but I wasn't gonna say who did.
It was me. I let's see, what I extended to them a proposal, which in one document that I use, it has the terms outlined in the document. This one just doesn't, and so I was like, "Oh, we got the signature. Let's do it."
Yeah.
And, we recently had some conversations too about trusted contractors, and if they were trusted and we've done a lot of work for them, then we might just say, okay, before we get the contract, get the job rolling to expedite the project, right?
Yeah. So I did that with the contractor that I trusted last year, and then they called me up like 3 weeks later and said, "Oh, never mind, we can't hire you. They hired someone else."
Ooh.
And I was like, "Oh, cool. That's 2,000 feet of black vinyl chain link. Like, okay."
So today I've been duking it out with this lady to get her to sign the contract and give me the new customer form for over $3,500.
Yeah. Yeah. So the job with the 2,000 feet of black chain, we're jumping all over the place. I know.
It's 30 minutes after we did the meet, but
So the 2,000 feet of chain link job. Oh, I did submittals, and then they canceled or whatever.
You didn't order material.
No, I hadn't ordered.
So all you were out were submittals.
Yeah, right. So just the time of creating those, which is still time, and time is pretty valuable.
I would like to tell a short story about one of my pains.
Hold on. Hold that thought. So just to be clear, when the contractor FG.
Yeah, FG.
Okay.
Franklin Garand.
Wait, it was like Ferdinand a minute ago or something.
It's
right?
FG.
Okay.
It doesn't mean anything, remember?
Oh, okay.
It's fence. Something that is fence related that starts with G.
Gate?
Fence gate. Thank you.
How about guru? I think that sounds better. Genius?
Yeah.
Wait, that is a thing. So anyways, I said, "What do you mean they're not going to pay us?" No, they can't just decide they want to make up their own payment terms and pay whenever they want to. So I go and I'm looking up law, right? Because there's law in Tennessee, pay when paid law. And so I go look this up and I'm like, all right, I'm figuring out what day I can start charging them interest, because the moment I can start, it's starting. I've had enough of this crap. People don't want to pay their freaking bills. Like, I was on that kind of rant, right? And so then I'm like, "Hey, Zach, bring me the contract."
What contract, boss?
And so here comes Zach walking in with the signed proposal. Like, and you've never seen our proposal forms, right? But it just is like a scope of work, price. We talked about how it has the disclaimers and all this stuff. And just off to the side, there was a signature and a date. And I was like, oh, geez. I was like, well, I think it would hold up in court, but I think it would be a little bit more difficult to get your money out of it, right?
So lesson learned.
And I think they are paying.
And now I've been embarrassed potentially on national social media
worldwide, even.
Right. International social media source.
You called yourself out, though.
Well, I think it's important. I think that's important.
Extreme ownership.
Yeah.
So all's well that ends well. They did pay the half, and then I think they've also made a payment since then.
They have.
So they're
they paid one job in full immediately.
Yeah.
So
and then paid some of the other one. So they're chipping away at it.
Thank goodness we're getting paid, or else my consequences may have been significantly more stern.
The conversation would have been different, probably.
Right, that's right. Well, all's well that ends well. I think
right.
I'm not telling the story. I think all's well that ends well is a perfect note or colloquialism to end the show on.
Wait, what about your story?
I just said I'm not telling it.
Come on,
No, we don't need to.
man. All right. So we're done here?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, everybody. A special thanks to Jeff Graff for joining us and commenting if he's still hanging around. If not, either way, man, thanks for participating in the show.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for everybody that watches. If you want to hear something, let us know. We'll do our best to oblige.
Thank you, Eladia.
Of course.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Zach.
Thanks,
you, Ilaria.
everybody. You guys have a good night. Check us out next time.
See ya.
PowerHouse Fence Show.